Hi guys, how are you doing? Hmm. First things first, um, I changed the light a little bit. I think I was looking like a ghost the last videos. It's just like this is the minimum, you know, that I can do with the light. I kind of changed the settings a little bit to see if it looks better this time. So let's see. Hopefully it does. To be honest, I quite don't care about the light and that I was looking like a ghost in the last videos. Uh, but I also like to be enjoyable for you guys to see my face somehow. Anyway, so here we are. Let's see how it goes. I think I would just really know when I'm actually editing the video. Okay, next thing. So I decided to create a deck with questions. Okay, I actually am creating a deck with questions and a deck with spreads because I've been feeling like that the people who create the decks usually they also create spreads, right? And I've noticed that like I always say that I'm going to do like a spread from one of the decks and that kind of stuff, but I actually never do. Excuse me. So maybe you just burped. That could be your confirmation that the message here today is for you. Anyway, so then I noticed that like I'm always saying that I'm going to do the spreads, but I never actually like do it. So I've created a deck with questions and I've created a deck with the spreads from the decks that I have. And what I'm gonna do, I'll let spirits use this deck that I made to actually know what message I should bring for you. I think this is going to be an interesting way, for to know which message I should bring for you. So if you have any question in mind, please send me like in the comments or in my DM so then I can add to my deck. I would like to add as many questions as I can. So feel free to send me questions so I can add to this deck and then we can, do this together. What else? I actually want to say something about what happened. I decided to do this deck like 2 days ago, was on a Sunday, and I was like really focused on it. And I even did like the last few readings. I actually did on that day. And it was so funny because I was feeling that someone don't want to hear what I have to say. It can be more than one person, but I had this feeling that someone was kind of like doubting my messages or just didn't want to, like when someone, like what I usually say is like, if you don't want to know the answer, just don't ask the question, right? So I feel like there's someone who doesn't want me to ask the questions, and it's funny because was the day that I was doing this, I decided to record a reading, and weirdly, just was so weird. My cup of my glass of water spilled, and then it got a bunch of cards messed up, right? Because it's water and it's paper and it's markers. So, just a bunch of cards they got all messed up because of the water. And I do feel that is someone who doesn't want me asking these questions. So, like, when I fix those cards, oh man, we are answering all those questions. Believe me. So, anyway, so maybe you're feeling that, people, they don't hear you, they don't listen to you, like that your voice is not really, heard. So, I know, I just feel this was kind of interesting, and I just wanted to share with you guys because things they happen for a reason. And I think my life, most of my life, my voice was the huge thing for me, like doing this that I'm doing right now. It took me a really long time to be able to speak up for myself and to say my truth. So there are a lot of people that they don't want us to do that. Keep that in mind, okay? And if you're around people who doesn't want to hear truth, you know, perhaps they're just not the right people for you to be around right now. Okay. Okay, so let's go for the message. I have some decks here. I don't know which one I'm gonna use yet, so I'm gonna get the question first, and then we're going for the message. Let's see. I would like to use oracles and tarot today, so let's see how it goes. Okay. Ooh, guys, I'm telling you, everything happens for a reason. Okay, and the message, the question for today is, what do you need to forgive yourself for not saying? Okay, so anyway, I I feel like that's, and to be honest, most of the questions that from that deck that I'm making, they are about shadow work, so you know okay, so I'm inspired today. So I'm gonna use two decks first for the oracles. I'm gonna use Cries of the Souls. Really like this deck. It's really beautiful. And I'm also going to use Sacred Woundings. That is actually from this book, from this deck that I got this question. Okay, so, I'm already talking for a while now, so just to let you know that this probably is gonna be a longer reading. But, just wanted to let you know because I kind of felt like someone was in a rush and they need to go somewhere. So if you need to go somewhere, maybe you should pause it and just watch later, like then you just watch it the full thing. Okay. Don't feel like I know that, and perhaps you're just anxious to know what is going to be the message for today, but don't have to. It's gonna be here when you're ready to listen to it. Okay. So, what do you need to forgive yourself for not saying? Okay. I guess we're going deep today. Let me get one more here. For real, guys, if you have any questions that you'd like me to include in my deck, just let me know. I don't know if I'm going to do this all the time, but I think it's going to be a good way to, you know, answer some more specific questions that sometimes we just don't ask. So, okay, from the second deck was really fast. From the first deck, we got narcissistic faults. I soothe my inner pain. Is the card 17. And the other one is needing to address your inner critic. And the lighting, it is what it is for right now, guys. Okay, so it's really funny because, not funny, interesting that we got these cards. Hmm. Because it is about, being really critic with yourself and just trying to like numb things, right? To that's kind of what I'm feeling right now, that perhaps you try to numb a lot of things that you feel. You don't really like open your eyes for it. So because of this card, there's the eye. I feel like this your third eye is always like closed. So you cannot really see it. You cannot really see what is right in front of you. You just keep yourself so closed off. Um I will just read what is in this card here, but I will read what both cards means, but in the end of the video, okay? Because I would like to go to tarot first. Because then, if you just would like to know the message from these cards, you can skip to the end. And if you want to check what tarot wants to tell you, then you can just stay and enjoy the video. I'll just read this part here. Needing to address your inner critic will show up as a constant stream of self judgment, doubt, and harsh inner dialogue, often undermining your confidence and sense of self worth. It may manifest as perfectionism, negative self talk, or an unrelating voice that tells you you're not good enough. preventing you from embracing your true potential and sabotaging your efforts to grow and succeed. Um, and it's interesting because all that, if you self-doubt yourself, you're you don't have a really strong sense of yourself, you're not gonna be able to be to make yourself heard in a good way. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm feeling. Like I said, the things with the cards, getting the water on the cards, I feel like there are people, maybe you just don't want to know what you have to do, right? You don't want to know the answer. So you're not asking the question, but you know it's there. You know there's something that you should be asking, but you're kind of choosing not to ask. Well, but that's a choice, right? You can choose to ask and work on it, you know? Just saying. Perhaps it's just easier, right? To don't ask, but to be honest, in the long run, it's not gonna be easier. So, but it's your call. Your call. Okay, let's go to tarot and to get more specific. You may like singing while you cook, or maybe there's someone that you live with, or maybe someone that is a friend or a family member. They're cooking, they're always singing. No, they're always like in a really good mood when they're cooking. Okay, there is something from your past. We got Six of Cups and Death first. There is something from your past that probably like changed you, that made you feel like you feel today. Probably like someone or perhaps a situation, and it just like and that it was like a situation or a person that you actually thought this person were going to fill your cup, someone who you really thought that could fulfill you emotionally, or like at least like help you, you know. mm, but I feel like something changed, something happened between you and this person. I feel like for most of you it is an actual like person. It can be anyone, any kind, any type of relationship. For some can be love, some for some can be work, family members, friends. It can be any type of relationship, but there is a specific person that it kind of change you, and you should see this person or this situation as you should see it like a really nice. It could like lead like a new beginning. Could lead, you thought you could lead at, you thought like it could be something. There was like some sparkle there. but you kind of just left from this situation really sad, feeling like you didn't really deserve it, you know. Um, for some people, it could have affected like your physical world, like finances. Maybe some people had to change something, like move out or change a routine, something like because of this situation or this person. I feel like there was like some movement, like you had to go to point A to point B because of the situation, but you were not happy about it. You were really like upset about it. What else can we know? Okay, so we got seven, no, yeah, seven of cups and ace of cups. What, yes, it is something that you really thought it would bring you some emotional fulfillment. You may have felt like you were just a choice, like someone was playing you, and I feel like at the end, the there were like so many that you just felt like an option that at the end it just felt like you gave a lot to the situation, emotionally speaking. You gave a lot to this person, and at the end you were just felt like an option. And that kind of, is still in your mind. It's like it's not something that you're being able to let it go. I feel here that you may have said something to someone, and things change. You were totally like, we got the high priestess and the 6 of wands. You definitely like thought that this would lead. You were definitely like following your intuition. You were following what you felt was right, and you probably said something that, and you felt like you're saying this would make things better, but it didn't. It didn't. It actually like, I feel like, backfired. So yeah, so you definitely said something that you were following your intuition, but because of that, things change a lot, and perhaps you had options to say it in a different way, or even like just don't say it, but you still like chose to say it. But when, to be honest, like I feel like when you said it, it was your truth, and you're just not used to say your truth. So perhaps you felt a bit uncomfortable when you actually said it. But yes, but it's just because you're not used to. It doesn't mean it was wrong. It doesn't mean it was right either. It just means it was your truth. It means that you said how you actually felt about something. And yes, I feel like you used your intuition in that, and that you thought that would lead to something really good, like a victory in that matter. Okay, guys. What are the chances of getting the Empress and the Emperor? So, what I'm feeling here right now is that you said something, but if it is like a romantic relationship, I feel like that what you said, it is supposed to make this relationship stronger. Even if it's not romantic, but I'm getting now a little a lot of love actually. So that is to make you feel like it's actually like to get you guys stronger. I feel like there's okay, so I feel like there's some people who was with someone, things were sad, and then you were apart. It could be like for a while or just like a really short period, but I feel like as some people, you're kind of like apart for a while now. And things that change. I think that's the the movement that I saw. Like I feel like you went one path and this person went another path, and perhaps you were feeling like an option, or they were seeing you as an option, or you were seeing them as an option too, or you were trying to um, check it out other options to actually fill your cup, to feel emotionally fulfilled. But let me tell you something, because you used your intuition and you were so right, that you were so in your truth, that you will like result in a victory. And actually it will, because with the Emperor and the Empress here, I feel like that whatever it was said, it was exactly what was needed to make this relationship, this connection is stronger. So you could be in your Emperor or Empress mode, or both, right? Because we have, remember, tarot doesn't have a gender. We're talking here about energies, so like the Emperor energy, the masculine energy, and the Empress energy, and the feminine energy. So we both have all of them. So if you feel like um, your main energy is the feminine energy, for you to be in your Empress energy, and if you feel that your main energy is masculine, to be in your Emperor energy. um, and this energy is like literally like so strong that they together can like just rule the world, just make everything happen when they're together. So this is what I'm feeling here, and I feel like that can actually lead for a new beginning. And because we have like the Magician at the bottom, and at the top we have the Seven of Pentacles. What for me, it feels like you've been planting things all for a really long time, and perhaps you haven't really seen a lot of fruits yet. You've seen some, but like perhaps not the big one. You haven't seen like the tree, right? Like full of like apples. But there's still like fruits. There's is still growing. The tree is still growing, like it's healthy. You've planted the seed. You just like not need to be patient. Yes, but I do feel like this is a lot about what was said before. I'm gonna check what's the advice for you. So this part of the reading is most for you to see if it resonates with you. This reading is, I should have said this before, but this reading is timeless. So whenever it finds you, it may be for you. So just take what resonates with you. Sometimes the entire message can resonate, and sometimes just a few information because I'm doing a collective reading. Okay. And that's why I also like sometimes say a lot of options because a lot of like situations because it's what I'm feeling because it's collective so I can get quite a few energies. Okay, so let's check what is the advice for you right now. Okay. um we got the Five of Swords, Queen of Cups, Page of Swords, and the Chariot. Seven can be significant, baby. You've been seeing seven a lot. Maybe five, or maybe July and May can be, you know, something. Okay, so with the Five of Swords, I feel like you need to be careful with what you're doing with your next steps. Should don't be in your shadow because it's really easy for us to think that we're like healed um like in a specific area of our life, but sometimes we need to put ourselves in a similar situation that got us wounded to actually understand and see and feel if we're actually healed, you know and that can be harsh because sometimes we're not. It happens with everyone. So just be careful with like which situations you're putting yourself in, because that can backfire and you don't want that right now, right? So take small steps. You don't have to like take, just do the big thing right now. Do the small thing, you know, take small steps towards it. But yeah, I feel this energy that you need to be really careful. And because we got the the narcissistic faults and the inner critic, um, perhaps you have that you have to do things in a certain way. And if you don't, like, you get really mad at yourself. You just cannot accept a different outcome. So, and like you want to win at any cost. So be aware of that because perhaps like you can hurt people around you that it doesn't deserve to be hurt. And sometimes like we hurt people without like noticing. So be aware of that too. I feel like just just be careful, you know, so you don't get back to. I feel like some of you've been working on like healing. So just be careful because sometimes some wounds they're really easy for us to get back to it. Um, Sometimes it happens, okay, but sometimes it's also hard to get back to the healing process, to the shadow work. So you need to be really mindful about that, which steps you're taking and how you're taking, like how you're acting, and especially I feel like having people around you, it's really significant. Signi- yeah. So Yeah, so like just be careful to don't like get people hurt around you just to get you an outcome that it's kind of like you're gonna have the outcome already because you planted. So why do you like try not to control the situation? You already planted the seed, so be careful with that. And then we got the Queen of Cups, Page of Swords, and the Chariot. Here, I feel like you have to be really aware how you feel, okay? Because I think like there's you may so you may be like self having like self doubt, like doubting yourself because you're not really looking at your emotions how you're supposed to right now. I feel that you're kind of like, oh, I'm gonna take a look. Just a pick. I'm gonna pick, but I don't really understand how I am feeling about it. I feel like that. You just look at it, but it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it at some point, but don't really do the work. So I feel like you need to fully look at your emotions right now. Look at how you feel about things and people. And if there's this specific person that you're thinking about or this specific situation, you need to understand how you actually feel about it. Because the this the fact that you're not totally looking at it is you're just like self sabotaging yourself. Can I say it? No, you're just self sabotaging. So, you feel that perhaps like you're doing the work, but you're not. And with the chariot, I feel like that you need to choose a side. You need to choose a path and just go for it. You need to get it. You need to get the direction that you really want to go and where you want to get. Because if you keep it just like, giving a pick, like just taking a pick, I don't know how to say it, just like to picking, and not like totally like facing it, you're not gonna really be able to heal that wound, and it's not gonna be able to like truly walk the path, you know. So I feel like right now it's what you need to do to truly face your emotions, and I understand that that can be complicated, but it's life. If you want to heal it, um, it feels like, and it should be honest, whatever the situation is, whoever this person is, whatever you said, it was for a reason, and it is to like to make this connection is stronger, okay? But I feel like you need to look first, like you need to look inside and actually figure it out how you feel. So at the end, it's about how you feel. Okay, so perhaps like when you understand how you feel, you're gonna actually be able to say things in a different way, to say your truth. Okay, because the feeling here is that like is the things that were said, they were not totally the truth. It feels like things that had to be said, you know. So I feel like this is the main energy for right now. Okay, so now I'm gonna read about the cards because that can give you guys a little bit more information. It's never know, you never know. Okay, so this card is 17. funny because the reading that I did, I think 2 days ago, I got the 18. So perhaps, I'm feeling like perhaps like the message that I actually recorded before it is supposed to be your next message. So if you haven't checked out the video before this, the right, like just check probably like the date that I posted. Um, yeah, so the video before this one could have something for you. Okay, so narcissistic thoughts. This card, I'm gonna show it again. I soothe my inner pain. So this is a mantra for you. You can write it down. You can keep saying it to yourself. So perhaps it will help. Wisdom. You are nothing but suffering so intense it completely unbalances your ego. We are your inner faults. Fractures source from traumatic experiences in your childhood that shatter your self-esteem, sabotage any self-love, and create deep inner and outer insecurity. You should be drinking water. Running away, though, can be a source of collateral damage because you may find yourself criticizing, judging, and manipulating other people. You're in a terrible race. We live inside you, and you can't escape us, but you can pacify us. Supplement. If you don't want to understand or calm your inner child, we'll help you do it. Our presence will be so strong that your inner child will be hidden away and your pain will take up every bit of space. We are the perfect scapegoat. You can use our presence to justify your behavior and actions. Although it can be hard, you need to embrace your inner child by seeing the mistakes your parents made and how their behavior harmed you, and become aware of your responsibility in the relationship patterns you create. Warning. Don't try to escape us because it will hurt other people. You're not responsible for what you experienced as a child. So, who is truly responsible for your heartbreak? You have the potential to see and pass by us with gentleness and love so we can heal. Become aware of our existence, as the more you look at us, the tamer we will become. Learn to love every part of who you are, us included, and you'll no longer be guided by your inner pain and will be able to create your own happiness. Moving forward, to create a different relationship with us, you can work on your sacral chakra, which governs emotional reactions. As soon as you feel a negative emotion, don't try to avoid it or make any hasty decisions. And don't criticize someone who hasn't done anything wrong. Take time to understand what your emotions have to say to you and think about what you can do to feel safe. There are people around you who can help you, so you can also call a person you trust and share with them what you feel. It's kind of exactly what we're talking about, right? You need to understand how you feel so you can work on it, but you need to fully face it. Which is the other card? Okay. Needing to address your inner critic. Let's see. Here. This one's a bit longer, just to let you know in case you're tired. of listening my voice. Anyway, talk to yourself like someone you love. Brené Brown. The inner critic is the voice that whispers you're not enough. You're doing it wrong. You'll never be good enough. It is the lingering echo of past criticisms. Criticisms. Social, mm, societal, I don't know how to say, guys. Social expectations. An internalized fear disguised as self discipline. This one convinces you that harshness is the path to improvement, that self compassion is weakness, and that perfection is the only way to be worthy. Over time, it becomes relentless, dismissing accomplishments, magnifying mistakes, and keeping you in a cycle of self doubt. You begging to believe that if you stop pushing yourself so hard, everything will fall apart. Healing the inner critic wound starts with understanding that this voice is not your truth. It is a distortion, a survival mechanism meant to protect you, but one that now keeps you small. You do not have to fight it, but you must learn to challenge it. Speak to yourself with the same kindness and encouragement you would offer a friend. Perfection is not the price of worthiness. Self acceptance is. When you replace self judgment with self trust, the critic loses its power. And when you finally quiet that voice, you will hear something far greater, the sound of your own inner wisdom guiding you forward. Okay, so here are some questions that you can ask yourself. Okay, if I remember, I will write them down in the caption. If I don't, just start writing. Okay. What does my inner critic sound like? And whose voice does it resemble from my past? How do I speak to myself when I make a mistake? Do I believe self criticism is necessary for growth? Why or why not? What unrealistic standards do I hold myself to? And where did they originate? If I spoke to a friend the way I speak to myself, how would they feel? What is one thing I have accomplished that I have never fully allowed myself to celebrate? Do I use perfectionism as a way to avoid self judgment? What would change if I replace self criticism with self compassion? How can I create a healthier, more balanced inner dialogue? Dialogue. I just said it similarly, but anyway. What is one kind thing I can say to myself today, and how does it feel to receive it? Uh, Here in this book, the author put the upright meaning and the reverse meaning. I will read both because I feel like I feel it's important. Like if you're still here, I feel like that, you're almost done. Hang in there. So the upright meaning, and I got the upright meaning. Okay, I will read both just, you know, because I always feel like it could have an information that you need or like a confirmation. So anyway, I read both, but I got it in the upright. A deep-rooted tendency toward self-judgment, harsh, harsh inner dialogue, and an inability to extend oneself grace, often is stemming or stemming, I think stemming from childhood conditioning, societal, I don't know how to say this, societal. Society pressure are past experiences of criticism and rejection. This one manifests as perfectionism, chronic self doubt, and difficulty accepting mistakes as part of growth. Some may feel trapped in cycles of self criticism, constantly questioning their worth, abilities, or decisions, leading to anxiety, procrastination, or avoidance of risk. There may be an ingrained belief that self worth is tied to performance, causing relentless pressure to meet impossible standards. Emotionally, this wound can lead to feelings of inadequacy, shame, or internalized fear of failure. Physically, it may manifest as tension in the jaw, grating teeth against self criticism, headaches, mental overload, or tightness in the chest, self imposed pressure. Over time, an unchecked inner critic can result in burnout, an inability to celebrate achievements, and a distorted sense of self. Watch for patterns of negative self talk, dismissing compliments, or struggling to acknowledge personal growth without finding flaws. And now I'm gonna read the reversal meaning. So I don't usually use reverse cards that much, but perhaps you need to hear this as well. But I got the upper right. So anyway, suppressing the inner critic wound by either completely rejecting self-examination, avoiding personal responsibility and growth, or becoming excessively rigid and punitive toward oneself. Some may cope by detaching from their emotions, refusing to engage in deep self reflection, or justifying negative self talk as motivation. This can manifest as pushing oneself to extremes, never feeling satisfied or believing that self criticism is necessary for success. Others may go in the opposite direction, numbing themselves to their inner voice entirely, avoiding self awareness and dismissing feedback to escape discomfort. Some may even mm, some may even project their harsh inner dialogue onto others, becoming overly critical or perfectionistic in relationships. Watch for patterns of excessive self correction, overworking, or resisting vulnerability due to fear of not measuring up. Beneath both extremes lies the same need to cultivate self compassion, reframe inner dialogue, and recognize that worth is not conditional on flawlessness. Okay, so I feel like both meanings kind of got to the point. Because yeah, I feel like we have here people that they are on both sides, that they're like extremely like critic, um, and they kind of perhaps you are, and I feel like there are people here that they don't understand that the way they behave is like that, you know. So, I think that's again, it's just important to face how you feel about things, how you feel about this person, this situation. Um, so things that were said that you actually are able to say your real truth, you know, and not just say something that perhaps like someone expects you to say it. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just finish here with an affirmation for you, and then I promise I'll let you go. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Here is your affirmation for today. Is it going to focus? I am unique and I am powerful. Well, this is our affirmation for today. So, well, I hope this helped. If you have anything that would like to say, you can comment or you can send me a message, you know, and let's talk. Okay, so anyway, I see you guys in the next reading. Bye bye.